We're going to do some 6th grade science. We're going to learn about ecosystems. So I'm going to read and you're going to illustrate and explain on this first part, and you're going to do all kinds of things. So I may do most of it with you, I may leave some of it for you. Earth contains many environments. What makes them different? Imagine you're going on your dream vacation. Draw it in the illustrate square. Beside your drawing, explain what you will need to wear and what you will experience while on your vacation. What plants and animals live there, and what's the weather like? Okay, this one I'm totally going to leave for you, even though I will probably do it later on my own because it's fun. So you want to draw, like, where would you go? Where would your dream vacation be? And then over here you got to explain, like, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to wear? What's the weather like? Okay, and how is your vacation environment different from where you live? Try to pick somewhere different. Don't pick, you know, Corpus or something. Pick somewhere, you know, different. Use your phone if you need to look it up. Pause the video if you need to. Alright, imagine you visit a park. You sit on the grass in the warm sunshine. You watch a squirrel run down a tree trunk and chew on an acorn. A robin pulls an earthworm from the soil. Traveling in a line, ants carry bits of dead insects to their underground nest. A breeze blows dandelion seeds through the air. These interactions are just a few of the many that can happen in an ecosystem such as a park. An ecosystem is all the living things and non-living things in a given area. Okay. There are many kinds of ecosystems on Earth, including forests, deserts, grasslands, rivers, beaches, and coral reefs. Ecosystems that have similar climates and contain similar types of plants are grouped together into biomes. For example, the tropical rainforest biome includes ecosystems full of lush plant growth located near the equator in places where rainfall averages 200 centimeters per year and the temperature averages 25 degrees Celsius. Abiotic factors. The non-living parts of an ecosystem are called abiotic factors. They include sunlight, temperature, air, water, and soil. Abiotic factors provide many of the resources organisms need for survival and reproduction. Okay, so we've got ecosystem. They want the definition, which is actually right here. So we're just going to write all the living and non-living things in an area. And examples, of course, they gave a bunch of the abiotic right here. And then right here we got the plants. Right here, those are living. Animals. We got the water, soil, and the air. And then if you put them together, where was that? That was over here. Okay, grouped together into biomes. Biomes. Okay, that was pretty easy. If you need to pause it, go ahead. Sunlight and temperature. Sunlight is essential for almost all life on Earth. It supplies the energy for photosynthesis, the chemical reactions that produce sugars that occur in most plants and some bacteria and protists. Sunlight also provides warmth. An ecosystem's temperature depends on part of the amount of sunlight it receives. In some ecosystems, such as hot, dry deserts, temperatures can be around 49 degrees Celsius during the day. That's 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And below freezing at night. Atmosphere. The gases in the Earth's atmosphere include nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon. Nitrogen is needed for plant growth. Some bacteria in the soil take nitrogen from the air and convert it to a form that plants use. Oxygen is needed by most organisms for cellular respiration, the process that releases energy into cells. Air also contains carbon dioxide that is needed for photosynthesis. Water. Without any water, life would not be possible. Water is required for all the life processes that take place inside cells, including cellular respiration, digestions, and photosynthesis. The stream ecosystem can support many forms of life because water is plentiful. Areas with little water support fewer organisms. Soil. If you've ever planted a garden, you may not know about the importance of soil for healthy plants. Soil contains a mixture of living and non-living things. The biotic part of soil is humus, the decayed remains of plants, animals, bacteria, and other organisms. Deserts have thin soil with little humus. Forest soils usually are thick and fertile with a higher humus content. Abiotic factors include minerals and particles of rock, sand, and clay. Many animals, including gophers, insects, and earthworms, make their homes in soil. Their tunnels help move water and air through the soil. Biotic factors. Living or once living things in an ecosystem are called biotic factors. They include all living organisms. Biotic factors also include the remains of dead organisms such as fallen leaves or decayed plant matter in soil. Species are adapted to the abiotic and biotic factors of the ecosystems in which they live. Algae, fungi, and mosses live in moist ecosystems such as forests, ponds, and oceans. Many cactus species can survive in the desert because they have thick stems that can hold stored water. Gophers live in burrows underground. They have large front claws for digging and strong teeth for loosening soil and chewing plant roots. Habitats. Every organism in an ecosystem has its own place to live. A habitat is the place within an ecosystem that provides food, water, shelter, and other biotic and abiotic factors that an organism needs to survive and reproduce. Organisms have a variety of habitats. For example, house martins, a type of bird, sometimes live in meadows or grasslands, but some find habitat under the edges of roofs. Crickets live in damp, dark places with plenty of plant material and fungi to eat. Skunks live in areas where they can find food such as mice, insects, eggs, and fruit. During the day, skinks take shelter near their food supply, in hollow logs, under brush piles, and underneath buildings. Plants have their own habitats too. You've read the cacti live in desert habitats. The wood sorrel is a plant species that grows in a deep shade beneath trees. When biotic and abiotic factors in an ecosystem change, habitats can change or disappear. A wildfire quickly can destroy the habitats of thousands of animals that live in the forest or grasslands. Erosion or flooding can wash away soil, destroying plant habitats. Levels of organization. An individual living thing is called an organism. A population is all the organisms of the same species that live in the same area at the same time. For example, all the dandelions growing in a field form a population. All the ants in the field make up another population. All the populations living in the same area at the same time form a community. A community combined with all the abiotic factors in the same area forms an ecosystem. The populations that make up the community interact in the ecosystem. Using the triangle diagram of the levels of organisms within an ecosystem you are familiar with. In the top section, draw an organism from your ecosystem. Fill in the other levels and illustrate them with appropriate biotic and abiotic factors. Okay, so on the top, you're going to just draw an organism. It could be anything you want, any animal or plant that you want. And then you have to draw all the things that are in their little ecosystem. Okay? Down here, define the following terms in your own words. You're going to go back. And every one of them is one of your subheadings. Right here. So all you have to do is find the definition for those and in your own words though, not the exact definition that it's giving. So let me give you an example for biotic. Okay. So biotic says living or once living things in an ecosystem. So I'm going to put all the things that live or have lived. Okay? In an ecosystem. Okay? So that's all you're going to do with abiotic, organism, population, community, and ecosystem. Let me help you find those. So abiotic is, I think it's back here. Abiotic, right here. All right. And it's basically the non-living parts. Let's look up the next word. Organism. Let's see. Organism is like the thing, but let's see if I can find the definition here. That one I may not be able to find over here. Population and community, those are easy. I think those are on this side actually. Over here. Oh, individual living thing is an organism. Population is all the organisms of the same species. And a community, all the populations living in the same area, that's your community. So all your definitions are right here. You just need to write them in your own words. Okay? Identify an ecosystem. Okay. It's a community combined with all the abiotic factors in the same area. Oh, I'm sorry. We're just supposed to name an ecosystem. Let's just say desert, because that's kind of where we live. Describe the ecosystem you identified. What biotic and abiotic things are there? I'm going to help you with a little bit here. I'm going to definitely give you sun, air, soil, and then you give me some examples of some living things, okay? Give some examples of living things, lizards, birds, hawks, whatever you want to put in there. Okay, explain why soil is considered both abiotic and both abiotic and an abiotic factor. Okay, so basically a living and a non-living. Now you need to go back to where the soil section is over here, and that's where you're going to find out. Okay? The biotic part is the humus. All right, and that's all the decayed remains. So that's was once living. So that makes it biotic. The abiotic are the minerals and particles of rock, sand, and clay. So you need to put those over here, okay? What are the levels of organization within an ecosystem? Well, that's all right here, levels of organization. It starts here with the organism, population, and then community. So I'll help you with that one. It's organism, population, community, and ecosystem. Okay. How would a squirrel population be affected if the pine forest that had been chopped down grew back? Okay, so if the squirrel was living in the pine forest, then it got chopped down and it grew back, how is that going to affect him? What are 5 abiotic factors? That's so easy. You just go to your abiotic section right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. right there. All right, in the following ecosystem, color the biotic components green and the abiotic components brown. Then list the components in the correct category. This should be all you. It should be easy to do. No problem. Here they've even got, in this bottom part, they even have them listed, so it's even easier. In the following ecosystem, color the biotic components green and the abiotic brown, so I'm going to help you with that. Sunlight would be abiotic. I'm not going to do all of it, but I'll do a few just so that you get the idea, because it's going to be the same format here as it is for here. This will be brown, this will be green. I'm going to put the oak tree here. And the fox. And the rabbit. See where I'm going with this? And the soil goes over here. So you could check them off as you go. You know, lightly. You don't want to gunk up your whole page because you're going to be coloring it. And then you list them, you color it, and you're done. I want to say that's the end of it. And that is the end of science for this week.